You know, it's called The Homeless Helping the Homeless. Living in the streets of Yucaipa, California. Basically, she was living, on the streets. The same thing that the judge ordered my mother and I to do because my service dog had to urinate. This woman, as I started to mention, had every mental disorder known to man in one person. But what happened? In California, we call it patient dumping, Mr. Candidate, or Mrs. Candidate. What happened to the wonderful mental hospitals we used to have? Why do we build billion-dollar fighter aircraft when we throw people into the streets that are mentally ill? At the end of this tape, I'm going to show you some of the most amazing videos ever taken of a mentally ill woman. Francis knew I was videotaping. I had full permission to videotape this. Francis is now someplace. She was sent to Arrowhead Medical Regional Center on January 3rd of this year. I could no longer take or handle her mental illness, which, as I mentioned, included schizophrenia, panic disorder, agoraphobia like I had, multiple personality disorder. It goes on and on and on. Again, Mr. Candidate, Mrs. Candidate, why do we do this? I don't understand. Now, I'd like to take this a little further now, and besides asking the judge how he sleeps at night, knowing he made an 86-year-old mother homeless, that was my mother, who's now in a rest home, by the way, with help with some friends. She's in an assisted living home here in Yucaipa. My next question to you is, I'm over 65 years old. I live on Social Security like most people my age, even though I am a former television co-host, which you'll see later on the tape. Let me show you where my Social Security money goes. I don't drive. I drive around town. It takes a long time to cure yourself from agoraphobia. Let me show you where my Mr. Candidate, Mrs. Candidate, let me show you where my $612 a month goes, and then you answer the question, why? Why am I garbage? Why do I have to live in a Dipsy dumpster? What did I do by willing to give my life for the United States of America that you, the people that make our laws, do this to me? And here's where my money goes. Mrs. Candidate, where does my money go? My $612 a month for Social Security? At $3.20 a gallon for gasoline, it goes to power a generator, even though I had electricity. This is what I do every day. Welcome to America. This is how I get my heat, light, and electricity. And of course the camera is only operating on batteries. Yes, I spend over actually I spend about $850 a month for gasoline to power this generator. Now I'm going to cut the gasoline out of here for just a second. Bear with me. And as you can see, this is a forested area. I'm extremely, extremely, extremely safe when I use the gasoline. Now, I set my notes down here somewhere. Yes, I had electricity. I had plenty of electricity. Let's take a look at the photo that I took of Southern California Edison Company on the orders of the city building inspector deliberately and maliciously turning off my electricity. Here now is that photo, and let me give you an explanation of that photo. The generator you hear in the background, but that's the only way this photograph can be put onto the videotape. This photo was taken June 28, 2006. You'll see here and here
2 Edison Company trucks. The cost to operate each one of these trucks is about $20,000 a day. The average temperature that day was about 106 degrees in the afternoon. After that day, June 28, 2006, you're more than welcome to check the weather report. Temperatures ranged from 106 to 127 here in the Inland Empire. Remember the worst heat wave in 70 years back in 2006? The city of Yucaipa deliberately and maliciously turned off my electricity because of honesty. See the little car right there? That car had a note in it. I left a note for the police not to tow away the car because it had broken. Let me take you now live to the front of where this truck is. You can't see it in this photo, but I'm going to show you and tell you the story about the Edison electrical box, 18,000 volts that can...
All right, you just saw the photograph that I took of the Southern California Edison Company deliberately turning my electricity off. I don't know if this headset is working well or not. Let me take it off again. Sorry. You're looking at a 28,000 volt switch box right here. This switch box, as you saw in the photo, you couldn't quite see it in the photo, but this was deliberately and maliciously turned off by orders of the city of Yucaipa, specifically 2 people, John McCain and Ron Grider. They didn't need a reason. Maybe they didn't like the type of shoelaces I was wearing. It cost those 2 trucks about $20,000 a day to operate, and the gentleman that turned off the electricity had to stand back across the street with a fiberglass pole. What was my crime? I wasn't going to take any bull crap from the city building inspector. Oh, and as far as my unsafe house, let me, without making an edit, and if you'll please pardon the movement of the camera, let me show you the house that the building inspector deemed as unsafe. I built this house with my late partner for people with agoraphobia and panic attack and mental disorder. Because the one thing I didn't tell you is my name also is Dave Aaron, and I'm a former multi-millionaire. So sometimes you never know who you're screwing around with. Now, as I promised you, without a cut, without an edit, I'm going to pan the camera around so you'll also see the house. Here we go. It's a real nice little racket that Southern California Edison Company has. If you look over my shoulder, you can see the house. Does that house look unsafe to you? True, it needs to be landscaped and stuff. I agree with that. I'm losing this house because the city wants to take it. I do have a friend named Joe Kincaid that's trying to save it, but I don't know if we're going to be able to do that. My question is, am I a piece of garbage? Is this what you do? You turn off a man's electricity when it's 100. Remember June of 2006 heat wave? I survived temperatures from 106 to 138 with no electricity and no air conditioning. Let me tell you the little racket that Southern California Edison has going with the city of Yucaipa. A number of years ago, the city of Yucaipa sued the Southern California Edison Company. I don't know the exact details of that lawsuit, but I do know that they made an agreement. And here's that agreement. This city is booming. There's new houses going up every place, not custom houses like this. And please pardon the fire patrol helicopter that's coming over.